Sweelide, how may I assist you?
What's up, everybody? I got wet hair and wet beard still. I just finished all my showers and stuff. I need to tilt that camera up a bit. That's a little better. Might be a little too high now. I got that song from Lost stuck in my head. You are everybody. Good morning. Buenos dias, todos. It is early here. Well, not early here, Pedro. It's 7:30 in the morning here. I live in Mexico. Most of the year, anyway, I'm in Mexico. Sometimes we're up in the United States. Spend about half of our time. It just depends. Half our time here, half our time there. It kind of depends on the year. We haven't done a lot up there for a while because of pandemic traveling being a pain in the ass. Any tips for Lotro? Uh, Honestly, I'm trying to think. Are you on free to play or VIP? That'd be the first big question. Because if you're on free to play and you didn't know it already, there's a huge update coming in April that's going to give you a lot more free content, more of the races, more of the classes that you previously had to pay LOTRO points for. Those are all coming to the free to play packages in late April, I think, update 33. Not really, I don't know that I have any tips per se. It's a very straightforward game. If you just follow the epic book quest, that's what you call a dead mosquito. Um, if you follow the epic book quest, which is the volume 1 stuff, it will lead you to all of the places that you need to go for quest hubs and stuff. So just follow that main storyline all the way through the game, and you will naturally find yourself in zones where you need to be for questing to get levels. Alright, I am in Lothlorien. And I have been sent to talk to Fimloth. Haldreth is an elf camp located in the northern area of Thinglad. Alfrahir has brought you from Lothlorien to Thinglad along the Great River and thinks you should present yourself to Fimloth at Haldreth.
Orcs have been sighted along the river.
This is a dangerous time to pass through Thinglad, stranger. Orcs have been sighted along the river. Fimloth listens attentively as you tell her that friends of yours passed this way, and you seek to know if they did so safely. So we're talking about the Fellowship here. They came down the river. The scouts have not reported any bands of travelers recently, but if your friends traveled in secret, they may have gone unnoticed. I have fewer scouts at Thinglad than I once did. If you travel south along the river, perhaps you will find some sign of your friend's passage. Well, that's what we'll be doing. I don't think I have any points to spend. Nope, I'm good. Oh, I should check my, Well, these are all level 75, so I'm good to go. Oh, I bet I need to re-level my, There's not a Forge Master there, so we'll take care of that later. There's the Anduin. We're going to follow it south as we look for signs of the Fellowship. Morning, Sparrow. Yeah, my late start wasn't... I woke up early. I woke up at 4, but then I went back to bed and woke up at 4:30. So I got out of bed at 5:30, excuse me. And went straight outside at 5:45 and took the shovel and started digging. You see trampled grass underfoot. Did the Fellowship come this way? I should get a screenshot here. Has the earth been disturbed here? Does it signify the Fellowship's passage? So I spent an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes outside this morning with a shovel. And This is Lothlorien, Sparrow. Well, it's the outskirts of Lothlorien. I'm on the banks of the Great River Anduin, and this is basically, I'm following the river that the Fellowship went down. And this is the part where they were having orcs chase them on either side of the river. And if we continue south, we're going to get to one of my favorite parts, which is the two statues right here of Anorian and Isildur. And we're basically, at this point, we're following the path of the Fellowship after they left Lothlorien as they went down the river. And we're looking for signs of their passage. You gingerly remove an orc arrow from the body of the slain scout. Ooh, we have to take this back to Haldoreth. By the way, I really like that name, Haldoreth. I may have to Haldoreth. We may have to steal that name. Are you watching it on your phone, Sparrow? Because when I have my phone open to pay attention to the chat, if I tab out and then tab back in, it'll often it'll pick up where I left off, or it'll have me somewhere else in the video other than up to date on the most current section.
This is not the first friend we have lost, but that makes it no easier.
I will tell her family that she has fallen in service to the Golden Wood. Fimloth shakes her head sadly. The orcs that killed her are surely somewhere still in Thinglad. If you wish to help us while you seek sign of your friends, slay any orcs you find in this land. That's an easy thing to do. Yeah, that's what it is then, Sparrow. It's the phone. Hey, Chris. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Man, I hate putting my headset on. My hair's still wet. I think Chris is doing laundry right now. Looks like I got a perm going on. I thought for sure if I started yard work early enough, it wouldn't be that bad. It was still pretty bad. Like, I made it an hour and a half before I was like, you know what, I'm gonna quit, because it was already about 7 o'clock, and I was sweating so bad, and it was already so hot. I was like, you know what, I just gotta stop. I feel like crap right now. But I got that done. I don't know if you watched the video yet, Sparrow, but there's a surprise at the end of the video. I put it up in the video section of Discord. Doing yard work this morning, but I was supposed to spread it all over the garden area today, all the chicken manure that I got cleaned up and that pile of fertilizer I've got, but I was just so tired after an hour and a half. I was like, screw that, I'm doing that tomorrow. That's a tomorrow morning project. And there's a piece of rebar driven into the ground that they used as like a stake to tie something off to, and I cannot get that thing out. I tried for like 15 minutes, but it is in there. The humidity girl, yes. Yeah, crashing is mandatory if you haven't slept yet. I've got my own cheap perm. Alright, let's go kill some orc. Let's hunt some orc. Ooh, he stunned me or something. I vaguely remember there being some orc camps up in here somewhere, but I don't remember where they're at. We also are going to see if my nose decides, if my sinuses decide to freak out today, because that was some dusty, not so clean dirt. I don't really care about the bears. You've discovered the old burrows. Well, there's wolves here. Ooh, is that the body of a big-ass bear? It totally is. Like, the wolves have, like, brought... There's a dead bear here, and there's some other half-rotten carcasses over there. We're gonna cleanse the area of those nasty wolves. Well, I have not found any more wolves yet. Any more orcs, excuse me. I have an elk, like a proper high elf now. There's an orc. Ah, here we go. Here's one of the orc camps. I need to get YouTube open on my phone so that I can see chat without having to tab out. I need to just put everything on the second monitor, but I really am just not a... It taxes my laptop when I put things on both monitors. It gets grumpy. YouTube channel. Games has coffee? What? Top chat? No, I want live chat. I have seeds germinating in my garden beds. Awesome, Sparrow. Cold crop veggies. Oh, broccoli is so good. Radishes are good. Turnips are good. Chris loves radishes, by the way. Oh, nice, Entity. Man, I haven't in a LAN party in like 20 years. Alright, got the phone set up so I could see chat now. And we need to get this out on social. Is the Gray Block Classic thing their April Fools from Pantheon? I haven't read it yet. I just saw you retweeted it, Sparrow. Gotcha. With over 88% of our public alpha, or public alpha testers as well, we decided to maintain a server in Graybox mode, giving pre-alpha pledges the opportunity to relieve the nostalgia of pre-alpha testing. I said public alpha, it's pre-alpha. Only available to testers at PA access, available soon after launch. Pantheon, the way you fell in love with it, the way you stay in love with it. That's also a nice dig at the people who refuse to move on from P99. 4 zones. Experience these zones in their raw natural form. No crafting. Forget about playing with materials and focus on killing. No crafting bots to worry about. That's pretty funny, actually. I doubt I will do a April's Fool's post today. We'll see. Oh, I know what I forgot to. I forgot to share that out on Twitter or on Facebook. Alright. Yeah, no worries, Sparrow. Oh, I've got somebody pinging me in Discord. Who's pinging me? Oh, that's Daedalus talking about the Lego DeLorean that just launched. Or is launching today. It does look pretty cool. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. She's already. Chris went by and finally got a look at her kittens. Can't get into the house, obviously, but they're not tiny. They're definitely like 3 weeks at least. And she only saw one. She assumes there's more, but I mean, they're already, you know, decent size. I'd say they're 3 weeks old. But we've got one of the male cats is already starting to follow her around. He's followed her back to our place. He followed her back 3 times yesterday and once the day before. So, and she's not unfriendly to him. She's definitely like, hey, maintain your distance, but she's also not like spitting at him and, you know, so probably somebody she grew up with or something, but might even be the baby daddy. We don't know. But I'm already watching him like, dude, piss off. Like, she just had babies. And like, you're already stalking her, like, just waiting for her to come in heat so that you can pounce. And I'm just like, there's no way I can spay that cat. There's no way that's going to happen because I can't. Yeah, this is not going to happen. I am going to deworm her, though, and give her some shots. I was supposed to go to the vet yesterday, but on our way back from the supermarket, we had so many bags, I didn't have time to, didn't have room to stop at the vet to get shots and dewormer stuff. But there's no realistic way I can get her spayed. Because I got to keep her inside for at least a week. You know, 4 days minimum, but a week would be better to keep her inside to make sure that the sutures have healed and that she's not getting an infection or anything like that. I'm not worried about the baby. I'm just worried about the fact that she's never been an inside cat and she's not potty trained. So I have no way of, you know, and a cat like that who's never been locked inside, she'll just howl the whole time. She'll just sit there and howl. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to deal with that. All right.
I thank you for the help.
The orcs must pay for the heartache they have caused us, though the debt be larger than the worth of their own lives. I sought to engage this woman you travel with in conversation, but she is slow to trust and slower to friend. I will not ask you to divulge any of your shared mysteries to me, but it is a curious thing. She bears a sword of the Rohirrim horse lords, but her folk have long been in enmity with that people, have they not? If she slew the sword's owner, you may find your path through this land much more difficult. The men of Rohan are not quick to forgive. She wished to speak with you when you returned. Alright, so Nona's here again. Nona is one of the coolest characters I've ever met in this game. Like, look at her. She's like she's a badass. They call her Ghost. Oh, she's so cool.
I am worried. My people have never gotten along with the horse lords.
This elf has given me something to think about, Telemar. It seems the horse lords have a large outpost just to the south. We will need to go that way if we are to learn the reason behind your dreams.
I will travel with you to this village, if I must.
But heed my warning. They will not bear any love for me, nor I for them. I will stay my hand and my tongue for your sake, but I will suffer no insult from the Forgoil. Let us learn what we can from their outpost, and then leave quickly. Alright. What's up, Katrine? Better late than never. I will second that. looks like that horse down there, and a reforge master, which we'll go to reforge. I can do Irish pretty good. If I hear an accent, I can usually do it pretty good immediately afterwards. Pretty much, that's just something I've been able to do my whole life. Like, if I hear an accent, I can replicate it pretty accurately. But only if it's, like, right after. Like, if I don't hear it, it's harder for me to replicate. South African's probably the hardest, though. I really loved watching Blood Diamond, which is, if you've never seen Blood Diamond, it's one of Leonardo DiCaprio's best movies. I think it's phenomenal, and he did a great job mastering the South African accent. I love the bag of goods in the ground there.
Who is this woman?
Why does she
carry
carry a
a
sword?
sword of my people?
He already said that, my bad. You are a long way from home, stranger, and in the company of a Dunlending warrior witch. I do not like it. Aphid growlers at you, his heavy-lidded gaze suspicious. This outpost may be on the borders of Rohan, but the law of Theoden King holds, and I cannot allow this warrior witch to pass unchallenged. Take that Rohirric sword from her and present it to Horn atop Strangard, and see what he thinks. He is young, but in matters of swordcraft and history he is unrivaled. If he believes this woman is no threat, I will allow her to enter. Otherwise, she must remain outside the walls. Nona's not going to want to give that up.
I will let you carry the sword, but do not let any of these men touch it.
This weapon may be the result of their swordcraft, but it is theirs no longer. Now it is the sword of my brother Wadu, and the chain of its heritage has been severed and made anew. Wadu's ghost wields it now. Nona studies you closely. Take it from this bag of my belongings. Bring it to this man Horn atop the village, but heed my words. Let none of you touch it, and return it to me when he is satisfied. Alright, I'm not going to do any of the other quests. Is he in this door? Maybe, or was he right outside? Am I herping and derping? Oh, I forgot to collect the sword. That's what I did wrong. Yes, that part was very sad. But it does play a part in the over. Oh, I guess I'm carrying this. I can't mount up. It does play a part in the overall, like, reason why the Blood Diamond trade is so sad.
Welcome to Starngard, such as it is.
What is
What
this?
is this sword you bear?
I need to wait. These guys have more voiceovers than I remember. He reaches out for it, but you shake your head and keep it in your hands. He laughs quietly, and you tell him briefly of Nona, Wadu, and the sword. I see. This is a Rohirric sword, but it is old, very old. It strikes a memory in me, but I cannot place it. I wonder if it was fashioned before Earl the Young came out of the Northlands. He seems to have made a decision. I want to show you something. Return this curious weapon to your friend at the gate with my regards, and tell her she is welcome to enter the village. I do not think either of you are our foes. Then meet me outside town by the Kustan. There is a large statue of two figures located among the Wailing Hills west of Stangard, and I think you should see it. I tried to get Chris to stream this morning, but I think she was still busy with doing some housework. So maybe we'll get her on a stream tomorrow. Because she hasn't streamed since before we moved, so. But she also just got her office set up last
Welcome, my
Sunday.
friend.
And this whole week she's been busy. Like yesterday she went out to visit her mom, which is the next town over, and bring back a bunch of the stuff that we had stored there from when
I
we
have
moved to the city 4
permission
years
to
ago.
enter? I will remain outside.
This village smells too much of horse and false dealing for me. Thank you for returning Wadu's sword to me, Telemar. I knew I could trust you. I am not so certain of these others.
You meet this man Horn at the Kustan. I will search elsewhere.
These folk are the same as their brethren elsewhere, and have nothing helpful to tell us. I will seek the meaning of your dream in the wild. Where did he say this place was? The Wailing Hills, to the west. Take care of yourself, Telemar. Horn may seem to be a friend, but his people are treacherous, and he will prove no different. Keep him at arm's length. Alright, so she doesn't trust them as far as she can spit into the wind, which is fair enough. Oh, wait, we gotta go outside of the village. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to get there from here, am I? Looks like I got to go around. Well, it shows there's a road. Does this go all the way through the town? It does go out over there. That is a beautiful sunrise, that's for sure. That might be worthy of a screenshot. Oh, the sun went away behind the clouds. Damn it. Excuse me. I'm gonna ride beyond and go get that other horse that's just down the road. Yeah, there was a really quick glimpse of the sunrise and then it was gone. There will be a nap today. I did not take a nap
Greetings, friend
yesterday.
of the
'Cause
Rohirrim.
Chris wasn't here all day, so I had to sort of remain on alert because as the neighbors next door are getting ready to move, they took down some stuff that was up against the fence, and they've left room for their horrible little chihuahua. Sorry, Sparrow, but he's stuck under the fence like 5 times yesterday, and he's shitting all in my yard, and he's pissed on the side of my house, and he's pissed on. Yeah, he's just. So I had to remain on watch yesterday for the little chihuahua. So I didn't get my nap yesterday, but I will be sleeping today. Yeah, I would love the days that we don't get those micro stutters like Ryan, because those have happened forever. Where's the guy I'm supposed to talk to over here? But I need to talk to the Forge Master anyway.
Greetings, friend of the Rohirrim.
Ooh, my traceless shots can be leveled up to 100 now. I'm now officially out of runes, I think. Oh, that only works up to level 70. Okay.
I am glad you have come.
I wanted to speak with you here, away from the prying eyes and listening ears of Strangard. There are friends in the village, but it is my way that not all of its men have the best interests of Rohan in their hearts. The garrison at Strangard consists of men who had no other place in Rohan, for those who commit crimes but otherwise remain loyal to the king. They perform a length of service determined by the king's order, and upon its completion their past transgressions are forgiven. My story is no different, Telemar, but my heart burns for Rohan. I see it threatened on all sides, and worst of all, I fear the greatest danger comes not from without, but from within. I have seen... Horn stops suddenly. Someone comes! Quickly, hide behind the stone over there and see if it is friend or foe. Pedro, how can I sell things? You have to find a merchant, and if you look on the map, they're going to have this green icon, like this right here, this green banner that I'm hovering over with my mouse. That's a merchant that you can buy and sell to. You can also repair your items. You'll see them in towns. Hide behind a stone. Defeat any foes that approach. Well, hello there.
I am worried by the increased number of orcs that move alongside the river.
They have been coming down from their holes in the Misty Mountains in great numbers of late. But they are not the only danger we face. There are 2 shallow crossings across the Great River. 500 years ago, a tribe of Easterlings crossed into northern Gondor by the northmost of those underkeeps. The steward of that land knew he did not have the men to repel them. He sent messengers to the north to seek for aid, but it seemed none could arrive in time to save Gondor. We have another visitor, Telmar. Hide behind that other stone and see if it is another orc. I am not quite to Rohan. I am outside of Lothlorien on my way to Rohan. This is basically, as I remember correctly, like the interlude between Isengard and Rohan. I am south of Lothlorien, following the Anduin down. So East Rohan is the next zone down. And this is where we get to the statues of Anorian and Isildur on the edge of the waterfall of Ninhuthwel, where Boromir falls. So we're going to be following the river all the way down and following in the footsteps of the Fellowship for the next
You are quite an ally, my friend.
few chapters, I think. Where was I? Yes, I remember now. The steward of Gondor sent an urgent plea to the northern peoples, but the Easterling tribe passed across the river before any help arrived. But when all hope seemed lost, a new force arrived on the field of Celebrant, the ancestors of my people, led by Eorl the Young. They destroyed the Easterlings, and in thanks the steward of Gondor gave them the land of Callanhorn to dwell in, that is now called Rohan. This statue was later erected as a sign of the friendship between the Orlins and the men of Gondor, and my people have watched the crossings of the Great River ever since. Horn looks up at the statue and is quiet for a time. I think the sword your Dunlending friend carries was at that battle, Telemar. I cannot be sure, but I feel it to be so. Why has it come back? We should return to Stangard. The air here grows chill, and we can talk more when we return. But remember what I have said. I honestly, I dislike the mounted combat. I have another character who I have played up to like level 84, I think, my hunter on Lundrobel. I do not like the mounted combat. It's just annoying to me. But you do move faster, I believe, on your combat horse. So, I mean, it's not that bad. I just don't like the whole running around in circles and.
It is clear that you have been sent to help my people fight against the Kundala.
They are the descendants of the Easterling tribe that crossed the Great River 500 years ago, and scouts report they have been seen on the far shore. They seek to accomplish what their ancestors could not. We are on our own, Telemar, and that is why I did not forbid your Dunlending friend from entering Stangard or seize the Rohirric sword she carries. Perhaps one day we were foes, and maybe again, but today I see Rohan threatened, and I thirst for allies to defend my homeland. I was once called disloyal and changeable in the hall of Theoden King, but that is not so. I love Rohan, and I only want to protect her.
The battlefield of Parth Celebrant may hold some clue to defeating the Kundala.
Alright, so we're gonna go investigate that area. But before we do, I need to get... I need to go take my Flonase, I think, because I can feel my nose getting a little stuffy. I think it's a reaction to all the dirt and dust this morning from cleaning up that old chicken coop. Yeah, the furthest I've ever made it is the middle of, I would say I'm midway through Rohan with my hunter. I think that's the farthest I've ever made it. I'll tell you what, Katrina, the best game for horse riding that I've ever played, Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 has the best. So I grew up on a farm, on a ranch, and then a dairy farm, and then a cattle ranch. So I grew up with horses my whole life. I've ridden horses my whole life. The best horsemanship and the best horse maneuvering, the best everything, the best Red Dead Redemption 2, hands down. Loved the horseplay in that game. All right, I'll be right back.
Sí, y era la última a las 6. Ya me ayudaron a la porque y ya agarré una cena. Veo que después de la cena no hay más. Tengo que pagar todo el especial de los niños. ¿Entiendes?
Chris is complaining about the backyard because that dog shit 3 times in our backyard. Just say she found 3 different piles of shit. And the whole wall of the house smells like dog piss because he came and pissed all over the wall. Because I was working yesterday and she wasn't here, and I caught him like 3 times during the podcast. I could hear something, and I ran out there and caught him 3 different times. So Chris actually took some of all the styrofoam. We have these big blocks of styrofoam from the refrigerator box. We haven't thrown it out. We've been throwing it out bit by bit. So she went and put these big blocks of styrofoam rocks up against it just to block the fence off. Because it's like the bottom 6 inches of that. It's chicken wire on their side of the fence, and the bottom 6 inches are missing. And they had a piece of sheet metal leaned up against the wall so the dog couldn't get out, and they took the sheet metal because they're moving, but they're still here for however many more days. So Chris just went and put that up because it's been 3 days of that dog getting on our property and just pissing and shitting everywhere. Horse simulator. I'm gonna no, stop. Switch to my other horse. Yeah, that's the natural progression, Pedro. You go from Archet to Comb, and then from Comb, you have lots of options after Comb, because you can either go to you can go to Bree, or you can go. All right, now I'm gonna go look because I forget what it's called. Eriador. Staddle. You can go to Staddle from Comb. There's lots of options to quest around there. Yeah, we have not yet bought a garden hose, Katrine. It's on our list of things we have to get. Chris threw she didn't throw rocks at it this morning. She threw so the tree out back it's not the almonds that we would use for almond milk or the almonds we would use for eating. They're like these wild almonds that are good for nothing.
Your aid is welcome,
but they come in
friend.
a shell like this, and so Chris was chucking the seed pod shells at the dog this morning because he tried to come through a few minutes ago, and so she's blocking up the fence again.
Horn gave you a map. Let me see it.
This field of Celebrant was the site of a great battle 500 years ago. I've been here much longer than Horn ever get to say, and with me 3 daughters left behind in Rohan. It's been too long since I could send word to them. My wife worries. I wish I was there to console her. Alright. Examine these sites, and maybe you will find a clue. Oh, we have, what are these? Oathbreaker archers? Oh, okay. Yeah, just follow the quests, because they will naturally lead you where you need to go. Because in the intro, at the very least, you'll be locked into the intro until you finish it. After the intro, you can go anywhere you want. But the natural progression is, yeah, follow those quest lines. They'll tell you where to go. Alright, so we have found a battlefield map and an heirloom.
What is this? What have you found?
I gotta deal with this dude. Kertic takes the bronze-worked heirloom he found among the debris at one of the battlefield locations and turns it around in his hands. He found this among the rocks. The years have not been kind to it. See how the bronze is bent here and there. A weapon did most of the work, and time did the rest. I cannot tell what these used to be. Perhaps a decorative addition to a helmet. While you are away, I received word from a scout in the Rush Grove of strange happenings in that swampy land. Find Edbrit at Alkulf's camp southeast of here on the edge of the Rush Grove and see what has happened. No, ¿qué pasa? Okay. ¿Cuándo vas? Okidoki. Sí, Cristina. Ooh, that swamp is pretty cool looking. Those are some big bulrushes.
Many unusual things have happened in the Rushgore of late. I saw a great shadowy shape fall from the sky not long ago.
Ooh, that might be a better one than the one I've got. Let's see here. Oh, that's just critical. Oh, nope, that'll replace this one. Where did it go? Burning Embers, where did it go? Burning Embers, critical chance at multiplier. This is a, oh, and I just leveled it up. That sucks. Whatever, we're definitely replacing that. Oh, so it was leveled up already. So it remains leveled up. That's really nice.
I saw a great shadowy shape fall from the sky not long ago.
Oh, so see, this is following the book, not the movies. So this is the... Remember in the book, Legolas shoots at one of the Nazgul that he sees flying in the night sky, and that's what they're referring to. I saw a great shadowy shape fall from the sky not long ago. You can come with me to investigate it if you wish, but first I need to ensure the safety of the Rush School. Oh, Katrine, I'm going to run with that joke all year. If you've noticed, all of my Lotro, not my Lotro, all of my Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power related thumbnail images for like the last week and a half all say, "This message approved by Renfell the Bearded Dwarven Princess." And then like, I did my thing for the Hobbit the other day where it was like, Renfell the Bearded Princess reads the Hobbit. And then my new series, which I announced yesterday. Let me go look at the thumbnail real quick. I gotta remember exactly how I wrote it. So I announced the series. It says, Mondays in Middle-earth, a new series by Renfell the Bearded Dwarven Princess. New episodes every Monday at 11 a.m. Central. And if you look at the thumbnail for the first episode, it says a series by Renfell the Bearded Dwarven Princess. So that's on every thumbnail moving forward now. Renfell the Bearded Dwarven Princess as he reads through The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Just everything I do from here forward for Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power, it's going to be Renfell the Bearded Dwarven Princess. But I'm glad you find that amusing, because I about teared up when because literally that one of those Rings of Power rant videos, which like last month or whatever that was, there was all these people talking about, you've got a beard, you should play a Dwarven. I'm like, I'm totally playing the Dwarven Princess. It's my role. Alright, we need Gredbig, Avank, and Turtles. So basically we're just going to run around and kill everything in here. Ooh, there's a rat. Ugh. Guacala. Oh, it's a baby turtle. I need 2 more Avank. Is that turtle chasing me? It totally is. Am I connected? So here, Ryan, let me tell you a little story. 2014, I started a project based on my book series called The Saga of Lucemia. I recruited a team, and in 2015, I, Tim Anderson, formed Stormhaven Studios. My brother was a part of that, and I brought on and recruited other people who became members in Stormhaven Studios. And we worked on the Saga of Lucemia for almost 7 years. It's been a couple years now, so 2020, right? There were some creative differences that happened, and some of the team members wanted to take the project in a different direction. I can't talk about all of it because there's a bunch of shit that went down, and there's an arbitration case that's going on in the state of Texas. There's a bunch of legal stuff going on that I can't talk about. But I am the founder of Stormhaven Studios. My name, Tim Anderson, I am the original founder of Stormhaven Studios. I'm the one who opened the LLC in the state of Texas. I'm the one who went to the Secretary of State and opened it with our lawyer. I opened all the bank accounts. I am the founder of Stormhaven Studios, and that company was founded to create the Saga of Lucemia MMORPG. Then, because of a bunch of stuff that happened in 2020, creative differences and some other stuff, I was no longer involved with the production of the MMORPG. And again, there is a arbitration case in the state of Texas that's going to take years to go through and everything else. In beginning of 2021, I made a Patreon post on my Patreon letting people know that I was no longer associated with the development of that game, but that the team who was at Stormhaven Studios had the rights to make an MMORPG based on my world of Saga of Lucemia, and they had all the design documents. Sometime in 2021, for whatever reason, I have no idea what their reasoning were, they decided to change from Saga of Lucemia to Embers Adrift. So no, I do not have anything to do with Embers Adrift, the MMORPG that is currently being developed by Stormhaven Studios. But my brother and I, and they might tell you otherwise, but my brother and I are still 25% owners of Stormhaven Studios. There has never been a binding resolution in the state of Texas to say otherwise. And there is an active arbitration case going on. But I am not involved with Embers Adrift. But yes, that's the studio that I founded with my brother. And some of the people, there are two people there right now who were there at the initial founding of the company in 2015. The rest of that team are other individuals who were recruited after the formation of the company, but were made partners later on. But no, I do not have anything to do with their team. But yes, I am the founder of Stormhaven Studios and put 7 years of my life into the Saga of Lucemia MMORPG. There's a really good video by Nathan Napalm, if you haven't watched it yet, from a couple months back, where he looks at how pretty much everything that's in Embers Adrift right now, and his words, not mine, you can look it up, watch Nathan Napalm's video from a couple months back, and he compares the alpha build from 2020, April of 2020, to the current build that Embers Adrift is running, and it's basically the same game. They've just taken all of the lore and everything else out of it, and they changed names for a bunch of stuff, like their Ember Rings system. That's just campfires. It's the campfire system that we had in Saga of Lucemia. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can research if you want to dig into that. And again, I can't talk about all the legalities and all that other
Your
fun
aid
stuff
is welcome,
because
friend.
there's an active arbitration case, so I have to be careful what I say, because anything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law.
I will go with you into the Brown Lands to search for the falling shadow.
But I was really happy, Ryan, when they did they finally did an interview for the first time in like since the creative differences happened. They finally did a video, and they admitted to the public that they still have the rights to make the MMORPG. Yes, that's one way to look at it, Ryan. That's a possibility. But what's very interesting is that they finally admitted, like 2 weeks ago, that they still own the rights to make the MMORPG called Saga of Lucemia based on my literary works, and they chose to change it to Embers Adrift. That's their decision, because for a long time, because they were unwilling to talk about it in public, a long time people blamed me and people accused me and said, Tim took the rights to the Saga of Lucemia MMORPG, and that's why they had to rebrand. It's all Tim's fault. And it turns out, oh, that's actually not the case. Oh, so Tim, I've been telling people for the last year and a half, they have the rights. They fully own the rights to make an MMORPG based on my literary works. And there was 7 years of work done on that MMORPG. There were dozens of zones created. There were dozens of quest lines already written. There was tons of content there. I had done... It doesn't really matter anymore. But yeah, there's a... I don't know why they chose to rebrand. I'd love to tell you. They do claim that because we didn't want to be locked into the lore and we wanted to make a better game, you could have made a... It is what it is. I feel sorry for all the people who pre-ordered Saga of Lucemia, especially the collector's edition people, because they got a cloth map, they got a signed book for the first book called Echoes of the Past, they got all those goodies and all that swag, and now it's for nothing, you know? It's unfortunate. So, yeah. Was it for the good of the game? Katrine, that is a very good point. Most adults can figure it out. If you've ever been in a long-term relationship, I know you're getting ready to get married, Katrine. I'm assuming you're getting ready to get married because you've said you have a fiance, so I'm assuming that's at least on the horizon of getting married. Chris and I have been together for going on 12 years now. Married for, I think this will be our eighth anniversary this year, I think. Excuse me. And in any long-term relationship, there are days when you disagree, and there are times when you maybe don't want to talk to each other for a couple hours, you know, and you go off and do other things. But at the end of the day, you can always find common ground and move forward. And it's very unfortunate when you have certain people who are unwilling to find a resolution. It's very unfortunate. It's possibly, Ryan, but there's also a whole bunch of other issues at play because you have some people who are putting together, as far as I understand it, there are some people putting together a class action lawsuit against them because there are a bunch of people who pre-ordered a product called the Saga of Lucemia, and they are no longer getting a product called Saga of Lucemia. So it's like if you went to a restaurant and you ordered chicken soup and they brought you a hamburger, you know. So there's some consumer protection laws at play, and there are people forming up a class act. As far as I understand it, they're forming a class action lawsuit to make a demand because they ordered something that they're not getting. There's also some investors who are not happy at all because they were never told about a rebrand. And one day it was just, oh yeah, we're rebranding the company, and that's not what they signed on for. That's not what they invested money into. So there's a lot of complications facing, aside from the arbitration case that my brother and have with them. There's other separate legal issues that they have to face. Find the location of the Brown Lands where the fallen shadow came to Earth. That is a long way away. Yes, so Sparrow just brought up a very good point, which is everything happens for a reason. And if it were not for that, I never would have started the World in the Weave of the Void, which is the current project that we have going on. So everything happens for a reason. What's up, Jitterbug? So Ryan, that's the short version. I would love to talk about the long version, and there is going to come a point, probably in the near future, when I will talk about it. You know, I do have. I mean, here's the thing. Previously, I would have said no, because we have everybody signed a mutual NDA
Welcome,
document,
my friend.
a non-disclosure agreement, which has a whole bunch of legal implications signed with it. But I know for a fact, because we have screenshots from investors and forum members, where the existing Stormhaven Studios team has publicly, they say privately, but on their forums, in their forums behind the alpha and beta wall, they have actively talked about their version of events to people, which I have never done. I have never told people what happened, but they have. They have been issued a cease and desist, which they ignored. Our legal team issued a retraction request. They refused to do that as well. So they're off doing their own thing, believing that they can do whatever they want, and that's fine. But because they have ignored the NDA and they have talked about things that they weren't supposed to talk about, and given a version of events that is partially true but not entirely true, I have the legal right to defend myself against those accusations, against the slander and reputation damage that has come with that. I've chosen never to address those things because I would rather let that play out in court, because that's just a smart legal thing to do, is you let all that stuff in front of a judge. Because if a judge finds out that you've broken NDA and you've talked about things in public when you shouldn't have, that works against you in a court of law. So, but there will come a point in the future when I can talk about all these things, and my brother has suggested that I write a book about it, because it's enough to have a book about it. It's a lot of fun stuff. All right, I need to go find the corpse of this, and I know what it is because I've read the books. This is the corpse of the Nazgul that Legolas shot down. And you have no worries about bringing it up, Ryan. It's a topic that, you know, I've talked about it a lot on the Looking for More show with Simmerg and Nathan. I have to dance around certain aspects of the topic because there are things that I really have to be careful of what I say, because some individuals are sue happy, and you have to be careful with that kind of stuff. But I can talk about some of it. I've actually, there's a post. There's the dead Nazgul. Look at that. The corpse of an enormous beast lies broken here on the ground. That has definitely been something that a lot of people have said, Ryan. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of, and again, it has to play out in court. But there's investors that are upset. There are backers who are upset because they invested in and pre-ordered products that they're no longer getting. And like I said, there's legal action being taken by those parties, which has nothing to do with my brother and I. So that's a them problem that I have nothing to do with.
This must be the shape my men and I beheld as it plummeted from the sky.
Is that riding gear? Did someone ride astride this terrible creature? And if so, where is the rider?
Something is wrong in this land. Oh, I can feel it.
That must be why we're here. This is the reason for your dream. Remember the words of Subak, my father. Dreams have power. We ignore their warnings at our peril. This beast is dead, but something rode it, and that creature is not here. Your dream brought us here to keep that creature from doing great evil, Telemar. I feel it in my very bones.
This is the reason for your dream. This is why we are here.
As you stare at the corpse of the massive beast and contemplate the mangled harness and missing rider, a single word echoes in your mind. Nazgul. No watches you closely. Do you know something about the rider of this beast, Telemar? Your face tells me it must be a creature of terrible power. We must find it. We must search for it throughout this land. Look for signs of its passage among the glens of the great river. And after we have scoured these lands, we will meet back here at this creature, Telemar. Let us purpose guide our steps. So I know something about the Nazgul from before. Yeah, Katrine, it would have been cool to have that in the films. So, yeah, Ryan, if you don't know the story, I started Saga of Leucemia as a D&D campaign in 1999. And then I had a play-by-post world on easy boards in the early 2000s. And then the very first short story that I ever sold professionally, called The Medallions of Lashiva, was written in 2008. That was set in the city of Finglas Mirror, which is the capital of Leucemia. So it started off as a D&D campaign, then it moved into a play-by-post world, and then it moved into short stories. I wrote several short stories in the world, and then I started writing the first book, Echoes of the Past, in 2008. So it was a literary property long before it was an MMO. When I decided to make an MMO in 2014, it was after I had worked on Pantheon for about 3 months as their community manager right after the Kickstarter ended. And I was able to see what was possible with Unity. And so that inspired me to say, hey, I've got this existing world that I've been working with for 15, 20 years. I could use that as a basis for a game. And that's how the project was formed, was because I had been working with that world since 1999 up until 2014, so 15 years. So I already had all of this existing lore and everything else. And so then it was just a matter of, yes, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. So then I was able to go away from that and say, oh, cool, I can use the Unity engine and figure this out. Complete the deed of the vanished rider. I'm going to have to look this up. I'm assuming those are all the quests at these locations. I maybe should not have run in here like this. Oh, that might have been a bad idea. Crap. Run away! Oh, I'm gonna die a horrible death right here. Maybe not. Heal your wounds. It's all good, Ryan. I like to talk. That's a blessing and a curse.
I have spied upon a camp of the Kundala here in the Brownlands.
Alright, so these are the quests I have to complete then. That's cool. So at least points me to those so that I know what to do. Yeah, that's the thing, Ryan. At one point in time, so the YouTube channel for Embers Adrift used to be the YouTube channel for Saga of Lucemia, and I recorded over 550 videos on that YouTube channel from 2014 up until they decided to remove all of the old videos. And so if you had watched those videos, the story of Saga Lucemia has been told a lot of times in those, and you can still find them because I did a lot of podcasts and vodcasts with other people like the Battle Axe Theater guys. So it's not, all that stuff is public knowledge. It's not private information by any means. But, you know, it's been removed off of their YouTube channel, which is just, they rebranded the YouTube from Saga Lucemia to Embers Adrift. There used to be over 550 videos on that channel documenting the entire process of the building of the Saga Lucemia from, you know, its roots. But you can still find some copies at places like Battle Axe Theater. Did Tavern Talk with a bunch of episodes of Tavern Talk with the Dungeon Crawler Network. Those kinds of places. Do the prologue, Pedro. Any of the, yeah, Pedro, the prologue quests, you should go through Comb, but I think the prologue leads. But anytime there's a book quest, follow the book quest because the book quest will lead you to places, and along the way you can decide where it is that you want to backtrack and do quest hubs for leveling. I need another one of these Battle Master dudes. Message Shouter. I see him, he's running away from me. Go, Scratch, go. Alright, now how do we get out of here without dying? It's got the same music as Angmar. I just saw your comment. I can't speak to win, Ryan, but I would not bet against them. They have plenty of funding, and they're happy to take their time until they get a product
Not
out.
like
so.
this. Kundalar are too near to stun guard.
Oops, I need to track that apparently. So I don't think Pantheon will be out anytime in the next. I think it'll be 2 to 3 years minimum before Pantheon sees the light of day. But you'll also notice that Pantheon isn't running around making statements like "we're fully funded." They're just heads down, as we used to say in the construction industry, assholes and elbows. Because that's all you see. Because they're down there, man, just working. So that's a tile guy joke. If you're in the flooring industry, tile guys are on their knees all the time working. So all you ever see of a tile guy is assholes and elbows because they're always on the floor working. So that's a saying that I grew up with. So that's how you know someone is busy, because it's all assholes and elbows. Yes, it's just a matter of being patient. Yeah, I think 2024 at the earliest.
Stay a moment.
What am I supposed to do here? I wonder if it's this dude.
Something has made the Gredbig here more
Yep,
aggressive than
it's this
they
one.
used to be.
Defeat Gredbig. Horse shit and splinters. Yeah, they did a very good job with these swamps, Katrine. Like, these rushes are huge. Now imagine if this is a first-person only game and you had to come in here. Like, it'd be pretty easy to get lost, even. Help! Yeah, Sparrow's got way more information on Pantheon than I do. I am not, because I don't care about PvP. So since Ashes is such a PvP oriented game, it's not going to be something that I want to play. But I will say that as far as indie MMORPGs go, I think Acid Creation and Pantheon are the only two that have any hope of ever coming out and seeing the light of day. I don't think there's any other independently developed MMORPG that has a snowball's chance of hell of succeeding, or even launching, I should say. You know. So, I mean, watching like their character creation video from yesterday and some of their big alpha tests, I think Ashes of Creation is going in the right direction. Plus, they're, you know, they're independently funded, so I don't think we have to worry
Interesting.
about the money.
Seems that whatever causes blood to boil has moved on.
So, you want to hear a funny story? The guy I hired in 2015, Robert Thompson, who eventually became the lead programmer on the Saga of Lucemia, now rebranded as Embers Adrift. He came to me in late 2015, early 2016, I forget when it was, and said, "Hey, Shroud of the Avatar wants to hire me. Can I go work on that project during the day and work on Saga of Lucemia at night?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." So by association, I got to go to the Shroud of the Avatar offices a few times when they were still operating at peak capacity, when they had an office. The first time I went there, they still had a team of 36 people working at the office on Shroud of the Avatar. And that was a few months before launch. Then I was there a few months after launch. And then, yeah, it started going downhill. And now I think there's one guy working on it. One guy, Chris, and he has a handful of contractors who he subs out to. But it failed for a lot of different reasons.
After you left, I went searching on my own, and, well...
But I think Shroud of the Avatar is plagued by the issue with the lead programmer on that project. Chris is just, every week he changes things. Every week he wants to build a different game, and I think that's a criticism that I can make as a gamer. The reason it's still getting shoestring content is it's pretty much a hobby project for Chris at this point. He gets enough money coming in from VIPs and cash shop stuff to keep himself paid and to keep a handful of subcontractors going to work on new things. But it's basically just one guy working on the game at this point. It's one dude. It's a hobby project at this point. There's it's never going to grow beyond a hobby project. See ya, Pedro. Nos vemos más tarde o mañana. No, I cast on the wrong dude. That was not a smart thing to do. I actually need to be careful in here. I've got... Do I have food? There's something here. I gotta figure out where it's at. Aha! Marked location. Get him a scratch. Yeah, there's a handful. I know that Joey and I have talked about whether or not we ever want to do another mmorpg again. I don't think we will. You know, I learned a lot being the founder of a game studio, building an MMO, being the creative director for 7 years, managing up to 20 people, raising all the money that I raised, getting all of the contracts signed, and doing all the fundraising. All that stuff is a very good learning experience and helpful, but I don't think I would. I don't know that I would ever want to go through with that all that ever again. It's a lot of work, and Weave in the Void is much easier for us to manage because it's just Chris. It's just my brother and I and my wife, you know, and it's much easier to manage. We have Nathan working with us doing character arts. We have a single contractor. We'll probably be, depending on how the Kickstarter goes later this summer, you know, we may hire an additional 1 or 2 individuals to come on and do artwork and other stuff for us. But, I mean, yeah, you can make a lot of money with an MMO, but it's just, it takes 5 to 7 years minimum to get something like that off the ground. And if you're an indie team that's trying to do it without being fully funded, look at Pantheon as an example, or other games where it's taking 10 years for them to get a product out. I don't want to work 10 years on something, you know what I mean, without having launched it. You know, I'm willing to put 4 to 5 years into something and get it out the door, but I don't want to put 10 years into something before it's launched. So doing something like what we're doing now with the Weave in the Void, my brother and I knew that we could get products out the door within a year. A little long. It's a little more than a year because we started in March of 2021. So the book's coming out in June puts us at like a year and a half in. So, you know, 18 months for the first products to come out. But in the meantime, we've had a Patreon going, and we've had a lot of people who have been supporting at Patreon, and they get access to the book chapters. So in that sense, we've already got a product that's been out since June of last year. So we've had a product out since June of 2021 with the book chapters coming out twice a month. So, and being able to take that point and click game to completion within a 18 to 24 month period of time, you know, it was something we knew where we could get something out within a year and a half to 2 years. That is fine. You know, I don't want to have a 5-year gestation period on a project. Not unless it's fully funded up front. Like, you look at these, you know, and that's hard to do if you don't have previous projects under your belt. You're not going to get $60 million in funding from somebody. And you're going to need
anything strange while you explored the sites.
You're going to need 40 to $60 million in funding to fully fund a project from start to finish, and that's a lot to ask for. So, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, everybody. Patreon.com/Wandering Hermits. Our point and click game is out later this year. You can download the demo for free and play it now. You can pre-order it. You can also pre-order the 5th edition books. The source book is going to be out in June, and we're going to be starting the live stream campaign with Bounty Code, Sparrow, Nathan Napalm, Semmerk, my wife, and I, continuing our adventures. We still are currently streaming Sunday nights on Twitch at 9 p.m. Central if you want to come hang out with tabletop fun. And of course, the book chapters, which are being published twice a month. Book 1, Chapter 15 was just published last week. Chris is working on artwork for Chapter 12 this week. Chapter 16 is due out next week. Thank you so much, Sparrow. I think we're live streaming on Sunday. My brother hasn't confirmed with me
something
yet.
on the shore,
He's
but when
gonna
I approached, it fled.
talk to his wife. A shape on the shore. Its name is Nazgul. Put a link in YouTube for those people who want to check it out. Even the base tier at $3 a month gets people access to the private section of Discord where we share snippets. Like yesterday, we shared a couple of screenshots, sort of a before and after of Marin's Rest, which is the main village in the point-and-click game. And we share previews of Nathan's sketches and Christina's artwork in there. And this time around, I am not doing investors. We're not going to do investors for Weave in the Void. Doing it all through Patreon, and we are going to be doing some additional grants. I don't even know if we're going to do a publisher. We may just do it all ourselves because it's easier that way. Don't have to make any compromises.
Are you sure? A Nazgul?
I cannot believe a single one of the 9 cannot endanger Lothlorien, not while Lady Galadriel retains her power. And she does. You need not worry on that account, but all the 9 together would pose a more serious threat. Thank you for these tidings from Limthir, but it seems to me the Nazgul poses more danger to the men of the south here than the elves north of here in the Golden Wood. I think we have 2 more to do, right? The Black Breath and the Sniffling Snuffler. Oh, I think that's a Gollum quest if I remember correctly. The Sniffling Snuffler. Say that 5 times fast. Jeez. And at some point, once I wrap up the stream today, I'm going to be doing a video on... Well, I guess it's already programmed to come out. I got my review of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxies. And then I'm going to be doing more work on the source book today. I got to do more artwork insertion. And I'm going to try to get a couple more images in. Yesterday I was learning how to do images. I'm going to try to have some images in the book before I send it off to you, Sparrow. For you and Bounty and everybody.
I have always
Draft
prided
2.0.
myself on courage. But last night...
This is the Sniffling Snuffler. Visit the goats. You see nothing unusual. Whatever was here must have gone. So yesterday I spent about 2 hours learning how to do something in Photoshop that I'd never done before, and I'm not pleased with the end results because I just was learning how to do it. Now I know how to do it. Now I just have to get better at it. But I also was looking at the player's handbook last night, and there's a different way of doing things that I need to try that method out as well. And once I figure out both those methods, it's going to be a matter of me learning how to do it better.
I suppose I may have imagined it.
You did not imagine it, because I remember something along these lines. If you do all the quests here, you come across Gollum again. which is a hell of a lot of fun. Alright, we have one more quest to do to finish this deed. And then we will have learned the location of the missing Nazgul.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cannot seem to clear my head.
I saw something, and then the shape came from the northwest, atop that rising slope. New quest, the Black Breath. A booted footprint in the mud may mark the presence of the hissing figure seen by Ifing. The footprint is of a heavily mailed foot, clearly wearing a mailed boot. One of the Nazgul! On foot, though, because he's been dismounted.
You found a booted footprint? I wonder what it means.
You try to console Ifing and assure him that he is in no more danger, but you have few words of comfort because you know what it was that befell him. Ifing ran afoul of the Nazgul, succumbing to the Black Breath, the stench of death and foul instrument of the Nine. He is fortunate the creature must have been hurried by some unknown reason, or he would certainly have been killed. He was lucky, but your fortune seems poor. The whereabouts of the Nazgul remain unknown. However, we have completed the deed, which means we can go back to Nona. Might as well take a horse down there.
Your aid is welcome, friend.
That is Brownlands. I'm gonna take the slow travel because I need a bio, so let people enjoy the scenery. Alright, I'm back. Had to get a sandwich while I was out there talking to Chris. Ryan asks, what is the length you have in mind for the Weave in the Void, or it's just something to continually add to? So, if you don't have to, I'll give you the short version. Joey and I did a bunch of public brainstorming episodes back in like March, April, and May of last year under the Project Dramond code name. And there's a playlist here on my YouTube which has like 110 videos. So we did like 110 public videos, brainstorming in public the creation of that world. It's just something that's continually going to be added to. Think Dragonlance. It's exactly what the entirety of this project is based around Dragonlance and what that became. We looked at what Tracy Hickman and his wife created when they took that to Wizards of the Coast, or TSR at the time, and that started off as a setting for D&D, and then that became, from that D&D setting, they then began to write books, and then that spawned video games. So Joey and I looked at that and we said, that's how we're going to make our business. So we started off with a tabletop setting, which is the world map and the tabletop setting. Then we said we're going to do a point-and-click adventure game in that world, and at the same time, we're going to have a book series being published. But rather than doing it the traditional way, which is have the setting, build the first game, write the first book, then launch the book and launch the game, you don't have to do it that way anymore. We have things like Patreon, which allows us to build it as we go along and have people subscribing and being able to access things as the project is being built. So that allows us to build up a base of fans and paying subscribers. So rather than publishing the book in a traditional way, which is spend 6 months to write it, it's all being done side by side, yes. So I have been working on, since last June, I think is when I started June was when I started writing the book chapters, last June, I think. But I think in March was when I started writing the tabletop source book. That took about 3 or 4 months, and then I did the first campaign module rough draft. Simultaneous to that was my brother working on the point-and-click game, and then every few weeks he would come to me and say, I need description texts and narration and quest dialogue. And so then I would bounce over and work on the quest dialogue and the narration for the point-and-click game, and then I would come back and work more on the source book and the campaign module. And then since I'm keeping myself to a twice-a-month schedule with the chapters, then just a few times per month I step away from the tabletop and I work on the book chapters, because those come out twice a month on Thursdays. So everything's being done simultaneously at the same time. So in a traditional book situation, I would take 6 months out of the year, more or less, 4 to 6 months, and I would write the whole book, then I would edit it, etc., and publish it. But that's not how we're doing it this time. This is every 2 weeks the chapters come out. So it's like a blog entry on the Patreon page. So the base subscriber gets access to those book chapters as they're being published. So it might take 2 years. If I'm doing 50 chapters and there's 52 weeks a year and I don't take any time off, then it'll take a year. It'll take 2 years to write a 50 chapter novel, which is probably what it's going to take for book 1 to be finished on the Patreon page. We have 2, maybe 3 books in the first book series. I haven't outlined book 2 or book 3 yet, so I'll know when I get into the outline for book 2 what needs to happen. But we know it's going to be at least 2 books, if not 3 books, for the book series. Then we have the point-and-click game. I'm going to have to put my hat on because I put the swing fan on. It's blowing my hair in my face. The point-and-click game is a standalone thing within the world that's taking time at the same place as the tabletop setting. So that's a one-and-done. And then we're going to have a sequel to that, which will probably be another one-and-done sequel. And then depending on how, the way we kind of envisioned it is this first one is it's like King's Quest. It's just quests and storyline and puzzles. The second one we might introduce combat, kind of like Quest for Glory had combat, very basic combat. But I've also been approached by a couple of programmers who want to work with us on the project. And if depending on how the Patreon goes and everything else, we may end up expanding the second game in the series to be more of an RPG, as opposed to just another point-and-click game. It remains to be seen. It depends on funding and Patreon and all this other stuff, grants, and if we get, it depends on business, basically. Then there is the streaming of the live stream of the campaign, which is a little bit different because we have the source books and the first campaign module. Those are coming out in June. Then we're going to be starting the live stream of those campaigns in June. So then there's Twitch, and how well is Twitch going to do, and what's going to happen with the Twitch streams. And then the events of the live stream are what dictate what's going into the second campaign module, which is a book that will be written later this year, possibly by someone other than me. It depends on if I decide to subcontract that out or not, but it'll be based on what's happening in the live stream campaign live on Twitch. I will then take those events and go away, and we will write the second module, which will be up for sale later this year on the website and Patreon. So this is not something it's just an ongoing, it'll always be there, and everything's being done through the Patreon. It's just something that we're going to be doing, and it's a live service that's being created live for subscribers as we go along. There will eventually be standalone products that people can just purchase. As an example, when the first 50 chapters of the book have been completed on Patreon, I will take those away. I will combine those. I will rewrite. I will edit. And I will revise. And then I will publish that as a standalone book 1 novel. That'll be available like on Amazon probably. So that will be a standalone product that people can buy independent of Patreon. When the point and click game is done, that becomes a standalone product that is sold independently of Patreon if people want to buy it that way. The 5th edition campaign module, which is launching in June, that becomes a standalone product that people can purchase apart from the Patreon if they want to. But of course, by subscribing to Patreon, people get all of those products as pre-orders along with their subscriptions. So I don't know what Gothic is. You might have to drop me a link. It might not let you drop a link. Is it just called Gothic? So that's the short version. I need to check Discord real quick. Yeah, I just Googled it and I don't see anything coming up. Is there a full name for that project, Ryan? Gothic 1 and 2. Sorry, I'm looking at this. Gothic, a fantasy-themed action role-playing video game for Microsoft Windows, developed by Piranha Bytes. Never heard of this. So I would have to look into that just to know whether or not it's similar or not. Okay, yeah, so that if the way you just said it makes total sense, yes, because the conversations that Joey and I have had and the brainstorming we've done with Chris is that we're starting off with single player point and click, and then as we get bigger, as the project grows bigger, and as all the various products come out and we start getting more income coming in, that we will then branch out and start expanding that into bigger games that have combat in them, and then perhaps doing a full-blown RPG, thinking Skyrim, not Skyrim, everybody talks about Skyrim, but looking at a first-person RPG. But what we really like is the, it's called Battle for Middle-earth, I think, or the Third Age. I think it was called the Third Age. It was an Xbox One game where you had a character that you controlled. It was like an avatar, and you were going through Middle-earth, but then the combat was third-person turn-based, and you had 3 people in your party, and it was turn-based combat. We really would love to do something like that as well. But the 5th edition stuff, the tabletop setting will just be evolving over time through the live streams and Patreon, and then the book series is going to be evolving and being written over time through the Patreon. We'll have to look into them for sure. Yes, Bard's Tale would be a good example of what we're talking about for a potential. We don't know what we're doing yet when we get to that point. We've looked at Skyrim and said it'd be cool to do a first-person game in our world, first-person RPG, but it would also be really cool to do like that Bard's Tale type, where you've got your avatar that you're controlling, but then when it goes into combat, it's turn-based. Like, yeah, we've looked at multiple ways of doing the next project when we get to that point, because that requires more people than just my brother and I. That we would need a couple of programmers and probably a couple of artists working on the project with us. So that just depends on
We have learned much
how the
of this
Patreon
creature,
goes
but
over the next
not what we need to know.
year.
The creature was looking for something. Oh, we need to think.
We need to return to the village of the Horse Lords. Talk to Horn. Alright.
Let us talk on the way back to the village of the Horse Lords.
Has no one seen our new friend, or the Dunlending girl? I thought they would have returned to Stungard by now. Did some trouble befall them on the road?
A quest item. Why can't I use that Also because the point and click is very easy to produce. It's literally something that my brother and I can do on our own. We don't need other team members to do it. And then Christina has helped a little bit from time to time with some of the aspects of the project, helping us with the avatars and things of that nature. But in terms of asset creation, world building, writing, all that stuff can be done by my brother and I without needing programmers, because the blueprint system is very robust within Unreal. Anything beyond a point-and-click game, we would have to subcontract or hire programmers to work with us. It's coming together. We should be doing a live stream on Sunday, I think. We haven't done one since December. I did a live stream. Hold that thought. I did a live stream like recently. An inside look. Oh, it was the Easter eggs one. Yeah, 2 months ago. I guess it wasn't that recently. Let me drop this into chat. You can watch this at your leisure. Welcome everyone. Because I talk a lot about the writing and the. This is a live stream of that I did a couple months back of the existing demo, and it talks a lot about the Easter eggs that I put in there from a writing perspective. Hey, I'm happy to be interviewed because it's publicity, and wink wink nudge nudge, it gets people to go subscribe to the Patreon. Pre-order all the projects. There's the Nazgul. Wait, no. Yeah, look at it. It's down there crawling and sniffing on the banks of the river. Oh, shiznizzle, we're gonna get attacked. It's a wounded Nazgul. Oh, it saw us! Ah! Nona's sword flashes with a bright light, and the Nazgul flees from it. The big one is running for his friends. Follow him.
This is intolerable!
A woman's scream pierces the stillness. Nona is in trouble. Oh, the Nazgul's back. Oh, I get to play Aragorn with a torch. You hastily grab the falling torch, burn in your hand. The Nazgul shrinks away from the blazing fire. Nona lies crumpled on the ground before you, soaking in the blood from a sword wound in her side. She struggles weakly to speak. Telema, are you... The effort is too great for her. She needs the aid of a healer if she is to survive this wound. In the back of your mind, one worrying question refuses to go away. From what blade did she take this wound? Did an Easterling blade cause the injury, or was it the blade of the Nazgul? You prepare yourself for the long journey back to Stangard with Nona. Run, Forrest! Nona's breathing is ragged and shallow, and the gash in her side still bleeds around the cloths in which you tried to staunch it. When you brought her to Stangard, she was barely conscious. You found Horn near the entrance and begged for his people to tend to Nona's hurts. He sought out the leader of Stangard to see what could be done, and has not yet returned. Wait, what were we saying? Vreka? Wolf, avenged. What did she say? She mentioned Wolf, a Dunlending traitor. His treacherous father tried to kill mighty Helm, and then the son invaded Rohan and sat in Meadowsville. Let her die, I say. Whatever made that sword stroke did my people a favor. What an asshat, Afik. I did my best, Telema, but you are not going to be pleased. He did not understand why we should heal the hurts of this Dunlending girl. Eventually he relented somewhat, and he has agreed that our healers will do what they can for the girl. What? Heal the girl? Horn, this cannot be his decision. There is a condition. Our healer will see to the girl's wounds, but she must relinquish all claim to the sword she carries. No, it is a sword of Rohan. It belongs with us. In Stangard, that is the price of her life. I am sorry, this is the message I was given. Do not let them... Nona struggles to speak, but the effort is too great for her to make out the words. She beseeches you with wide eyes, but you cannot meet her stare. Your gaze keeps returning to the blood soaking the floor beneath her. She tries again. Wadus, it was... You cannot give... Oh, thank God. It's like, you cannot give the Rohirrim what they want. There has to be another way to save her life. I would die first. Don't be a fool. Our healer can save your life. I know our people are enemies, but you should not die this way. How would you have me die? Not for a sword. God, the writing is so good in this. Telema, your friend is as hard-headed as the most stubborn of my folk. She could give Theoden King lessons in being headstrong. There has to be another way. You spoke of the Elf Witch in the woods to the north along Anduin. My people shun that place as a den of evil glamour, but if there was a power that could heal this girl... Horn glowers at you, his eyebrows knitted together angrily. A pox on her! I will not have her blood on my hands or on her own. Lead us to this elf witch, Telemar. I have heard the tales. Perhaps she will be unable to bewitch me as I am expecting it. Why did you ever bring the girl to this place, Stangard? This is not her place. So, we're visiting Lothlorien now. Yeah, the quests in this game are really good. I will never call my people distrustful again, Telemar. The blindfold felt somewhat unnecessary to me. Only the most urgent of need has driven me here, and I would not want to return. His face softened, and his brow creases with worry. Do you think the girl will recover? I saw the way those elves looked at her wound. Whatever they saw there, they did not like it. If it was not an Easterling blade, what does that mean for her? What is wrong, Telemar? Have you seen this before? Ooh, Galadriel herself is coming. I have done what I can. The danger has passed, Telemar. The wound was deep, but it did not fester, and yet I did not wish to leave this girl to the care of my healers. The risk that her wound was caused by a Morgul blade, and that she could become a wraith like the creature you encountered tonight, compelled me to heal her wounds personally. If it had proven the case, I would have ended her suffering. It would have been a mercy and necessary to safeguard Lothlorien and indeed all lands. Do you think me cruel? I am glad it did not come to that. I do not believe her wound was caused by a Morgul blade, and it is my hope and belief that she will live. But I am surprised. We will speak more of it later, away from watchful ears. Meanwhile, the girl Nona is sleeping. When she awakes, you will be brought to her. Alright. Your elf witch works wonders. So he's going to return to Stangard, and I'm going to...
Along the banks of the great river, you evaded a great evil, but not without cost. The girl Nona was brought before me, wounded and in pain. I did for her what I could, but her fate is not yet clear to me.
See ya, Sparrow. Have a good day. I will be... Oh, you know what? I got a video going out in like 1 minute, so I'm going to go get this out on the tube. And if it's 10, I probably need to wrap things up myself and start working. Ooh, it's going to be 96 today. That's going to be a hot day. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up, everybody. I didn't realize it was already 10 o'clock. And I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Got a late start today. New videos going out in just a minute on Guardians of the Galaxy. My review of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I streamed last week. I think for those of you who tuned in a little bit, watched me stream, that review is coming out. And then I am sitting down and working on more layout today for the tabletop books. So I've got artwork. I got to start putting all of Christina's artwork into the book and some of Nathan's artwork and other stuff. So that's all I'm working on for the entire month of April, is layout for the tabletop book to get ready for May, which is polish and beta readers, and then getting ready for the June publication date. So I'm about to go do that for the next few hours. We'll be back tonight. Tonight is our gaming community night for Lord of the Rings Online with our Blackbirds Guild here in Lord of the Rings Online. So I should be back around 7 or 8 p.m. Central Time this evening streaming. And yeah, it's hot as fuck here. It was 97 yesterday, and I would estimate that it'll probably get up to like 98 today. It's going to be 101 in like 4 or 5 days. It is hot, hot, hot here. But I am thankfully got the AC installed just in time in the new office to not die of heat. But the rest of the house is not air conditioned, so it is gets quite warm in the house. which is why I hide in here all day and work. So streaming again tonight, more Lotro. Tomorrow morning, more Lotro. Tomorrow night, more Lotro. And also Sunday morning, we're doing all of our gaming community stuff in Lotro this weekend. If you want to join our gaming community, there's a link to Discord down below. And you can hang out with us there. Join our Lotro sessions. We may be playing EverQuest later this year. In June, we're going to be taking a vote to see if people want to play on the new progression server, because we have a handful of people who have never played EverQuest before, so we might go do EverQuest for a little bit with some of our gaming community people. Why did I just hear a Twitch subscription sound? Oh, you know what? I bet I still have my old Twitch stuffs registered here. I need to go check that. Thanks for following along and hanging out this morning, everybody. If you want more information about all the things I'm working on with my wife and my brother and Nathan Napalm on the World of Weave of the Void, don't forget to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Wandering Hermits. Join our Discord, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon, all those good things. We also have social media all around the place. I'm on Twitter, all this other stuff. I have a TikTok, although my TikTok is mostly Spanish language content, so if you want to do that, as we start to get this new place we bought down here in Mexico set up. Put out a YouTube short this morning too. I was doing yard work at 5:30 in the morning, cleaning out the old chicken coop that used to be here. There's a base that was left over. Anyway, we're documenting all that stuff, so stay tuned for all that kind of stuff, everybody. Until tonight, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see everybody this evening around 8 p.m. Central for more Lotro streams. Have a good day.